Hey everyone, and welcome to a new and exciting episode of Geekdom Forecast. Now, before we start off with the review, I want to say thank you so much for the overwhelming support that you guys have given us, and due to this, we'll be able to dish out more content for you guys. And this episode, we are going to talk about the idea behind this episode was that I wanted to do a movie which is based on the 90s. It was released on the 90s. And why? Because this movie really stands out from the pack. It's not like your standard superhero / comic book movie where there's always a post-credit scene and emphasis on world building and sequel setups, etc. This movie is different. Darkman is a different beast altogether. It's graphic, over the top, it's campy, it's overacted, it's funny, it's silly, and basically 100% weird.
Yeah, see the dancing freak.
Darkman is a movie which is directed by Sam Raimi. And Sam Raimi is a well-known force in the world of geekdom. Why? Because he has directed a plethora of movies which still stand the test of time. First of all, there is the Evil Dead trilogy and then Spider-Man trilogy, and currently he's roped in to direct the sequel to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. So without further ado, let's start off with the movie. Liam Neeson as Peyton Westlake, who is actually the protagonist of the movie, and there's Frances McDormand as Julie Hastings, and villains Colin Farrell as Louis Strack Jr. and Larry Drake as Robert G. Durant. This movie is not for everybody, and I'll tell you why. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I remember watching this movie for the first time, and I was like, okay, I like Darkman, I like this tragic character, and I can get behind him. I found him pretty cool. But a few days back, I watched this movie and I was like, holy shit, this is going to be a roller coaster ride. The style and aesthetics of this movie is very similar to Army of Darkness, another movie by Sam Raimi. Now, the acting in this movie, Darkman, is just way over the top because he just oscillates from one emotional spectrum to the other. Now, I can understand why Neeson is putting in such a performance, because when I was researching the movie, I saw that when he got the script, he saw that the movie had a very operatic style. So his acting and everything is like as if he's in a theater production than in a film, because you can see that he's really giving it all for the character, especially when he's in his destroyed laboratory and he's just saying that his life has crumbled and he's gone into some kind of depression, manic depression, and he's just like feeling it. He's very sad, and you can see that Neeson is putting his heart and soul for this character. An operatic style of Liam Neeson actually goes very well with Danny Elfman's musical score. Now, Danny Elfman is a well-known force in the world of geekdom. He has scored the Batman animated films, the Batman Tim Burton films, as well as the Spider-Man trilogy. Another thing that I like about this movie is that the makeup, the special effects, the practical effects, it just screams 80s horror. And I really like that, because at times when we live in a time when CGI is overused, and just to see something which is it has practical effects and everything feels just real. Now, this movie is actually a blueprint for the future Spider-Man movies, because if you see, for example, the laboratory scene in Darkman, or when Darkman finally sees what he's become, is very similar to when Dr. Octopus, he's in the warehouse and he says, what have I become, and is about to take his own life. And then the other scene again in the laboratory when Peyton has not met with the accident, but then he's experimenting, and then that scene again reminded me of a similar scene in Spider-Man where Norman Osborn starts to go ahead with the human trials. Of course, how can we forget the cameos? Ted Raimi makes a special appearance as a thug, and Bruce Campbell, the face of the Evil Dead franchise, makes a cameo at the end of the movie. So, can we rewatch this movie in 2020? How does this movie hold up to the likes of Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, Dark Knight Rises, Joker, Logan, just to name a few? Well, first of all, this movie, like I said previously, it's bold, it's wild, it's campy, it's funny, it's just in your face. So, if you want to know what Sam Raimi was before his Spider-Man trilogy, where he actually started off and what he was experimenting with, you can watch Darkman. You need to understand that Raimi made this movie because he was unable to acquire the rights to Batman and The Shadow. Hence, he got into a deal with Universal and he made his own superhero movie, and that is Darkman. You need to also understand that during this time there was no pressure for sequel setting or world building or anything of that sort. Raimi is experimenting, he is just going all out with his ideas. There is no studio interference like what it happens these days. And if you really want to know what Raimi was before he became a comic book god or something, you need to watch this movie, and I'm telling you, it won't be a disappointment. But yes, is it hard to watch it these days with fresh eyes? Yes, it can be. But do give it a chance. Guys, that's it for today. If you do like what we're doing, press the like button and don't forget to subscribe and share. This is Ren from Geekdom Forecast, signing off.